fine. How are you? How are you? How are you really? It's been a week. What has gone down in the last week in your life? You gained weight? I can tell. I can tell. So have I. So have I. We can feel that way together. So today we're going to be doing our makeup. We're going to be drinking. We're going to be reading family secret stories. Dark ones, scary ones, fucked up ones, juice-a-poosa ones. Things like fucking that. Stephanie is back. She did her hair this morning, which I think is super cute. What do you think? We've been having a very good relationship lately. She's been doing her chores. She's been doing her schoolwork. She was feeling a little bit sick today. So for today's makeup look, I was thinking doing a brown look, but with yellow, because it kind of, I just pinched my fucking nipple. Why is she hard right now? Never done brown yellow. I've done yellow. Also, I did my nails. Look at how cute they are. Or do you hate them? Do you hate them? I need brand deals. Brands now, or I'll hurt you. I'm great to work with, I promise. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to my alt account on TikTok. I'll link it down below. And my main account on TikTok and my Instagram. I post on my Instagram story all the fucking time. Please, I'm gonna start posting pictures of myself and I'll feel really fat and ugly if I get 500 likes. I'll feel ugly. We're gonna start our makeup routine, but before we get to the makeup and the story, what do we need to do first? And don't be fucking stupid. Yeah, fatty shot o'clock. Whoa, fuck. Whoa, okay. I found the first story. This is posted by Programmer 2 years ago in the What is the Darkest Family Secret You Uncovered? I was adopted in 1999, but I have been digging into my biological ancestry over the years or so. My biological maternal grandfather divorced my grandmother in the late 70s to early 80s. Not the dark secret. He remarried a woman not long after, in the mid-80s. They had 3 kids together. In 1988, she strangled their youngest son in his sleep. In 1989, she did the same thing to his older brother. She was convicted in 1991 of murdering both of her sons and attempting to murder her oldest child, an 8-year-old girl, by throwing a hairdryer in the tub while she was in the bath. The girl survived and was put into protective custody. Okay. So when I was thinking of like secrets, I was thinking of like, oh, my dad like actually cheated like on my mom. Like I have another sibling. Like I wasn't thinking like, oh, I was adopted and your grandmother was just a murderer. Like a serial killer. I wonder what that is. It's giving the Corsa La Llorona. I found the next story. This is from Earhorn Jones, 131 days ago. So she's from, what is that? Is that this year? I don't know. Pretty soon though. Is the shot hitting me or what? I tell people this all the time, but it's considered pretty taboo by a lot of my family. My mother-in-law is married to a very religious man who is very judgmental, outspoken about what's right and wrong. It's always the fucking religious fucking bitches. They like to tell people what they can and can't do while they're fucking touching kids and fucking being racist. So he's very active in his church, which he constantly reminds people of that his father built, whatever that fucking means, and will freely remind you that taking the Lord's name in vain or living together before marriage is your free ticket to hell. The thing is, he's a serial adulterer. Oh, okay. He was married to his first wife for over 20 years and cheated on her almost all the time. In fact, he had a long-running affair with my mother-in-law when she was in her 40s. She broke it off because he refused to leave his wife. When his first wife died, he was knocking on my mother-in-law's door looking for companionship before his wife was even buried. Okay. So So did he just want some hole, or like was he just like so scared of like being alone, or like what the fuck's going on? We know of at least 2 other women with whom he'd carried on for multiple years. Apparently, in his mind, swearing and failing to go to church every week are mortal sins, but that stuff about adultery was only a suggestion. I'm always sure to point out to the young people in my family whenever he drops his holier-than-thou judgments on their lifestyle. Say what you will, it's true that I haven't set foot in the church since my wedding 20 years ago, but since then, I never slept with anyone but my wife in the time either. Ooh. The call out was crazy. I have never fucking understood people who are super... I will never understand people who are super religious and are super judgmental. That is like one of the main things that I see from especially Christians are like the most judgmental people you will ever see in your entire life, when it's literally like a sin to be like the only one that can judge you as God or Jesus or whatever, or whatever the fuck they say in the Bible. They're the first ones to judge you. Alright, I'm back. I just got done with the majority of my base. All that I really need to do is put powder on. But I found the next story. To read the story, I think I need to do something, like, to make myself feel, like, amazing. Make me feel like my taxes are paid. Do you know what will help? What? No! I can't just join a modeling agency because I'm pretty. Oh. Get casted in a movie? I haven't even auditioned yet. Go buy a yacht? Girl, I do not have that kind of money. Host Jimmy Fallon. It's called the Jimmy Fallon. No, I have to take a batty shot of God. Shower, gleam and glow. Let your power shine. Is that how it goes? I don't know. Oh, God. This is from Mustard in My Ass. Okay. I think my worst fear would actually have mustard in my ass. Like, I think there should be like a phobia of that, because mustard scares the shit out of me. So I was born with a narcissistic, abusive father and a doormat mother. For most of my childhood, my sister and I have experienced physical abuse for the smallest things. My mother felt the burnt of most of it. Multiple times came back home watching my mother crying after being beaten by whatever he could get his hands on. Hammers, sticks, utensils, screwdrivers for atrocious reasons. Like going to get some photocopies for her brother. At age 10, we shifted to our current city with most of our extended family living there. Things would get better. You would think things would get better, right? In my first year there, my father bit my mom's arm badly. She complained to her brothers and uncles, for which they filed a police complaint. At 11, I gave a statement against my father, which felt very heavy. Afterward, he came back home as usual, creating a rift with the family. Biting your mother? What kind of abuse is that? First of all, I just want to say that that's super fucked up and super traumatic to see your parent getting beaten and also getting beaten yourself, like he said. But biting? Like, he bit your mom's arm? Like, what is your dad's fucking problem? On 5 different occasions, both my mother and father left home separately at different times with no information as to where they were for weeks. We would call them, but either they wouldn't answer or refuse to tell us where they were. Like, left you home alone with your siblings? Or while you guys were, like, little? Or, like, were you staying with family? Or they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go. I'll be back soon. When? Don't fucking ask me that, and don't call me. Like, what is going on? Keep in mind, this happened when we were 10 to 15 years old. Okay, 10 to 15 years old. The abuse was milder after the police complaint. Still existed, but turned more verbal as we can now understand the dynamics. Most of the abuse later on was due to money problems, and he sometimes refused to even bring groceries. Sometimes after my mother had to resume her studies and join as a teacher, my father took a voluntary retirement because he had the same anger issues at the workplace and was given 2 choices: voluntary retirement or termination. Okay, so like he would take that same abuse into work. So it wasn't even like a hidden thing. Like, people fucking knew this man was crazy. Can someone beat his fucking ass? I hope that's how the story ends. Or he gets killed or something. In the most recent case happened in 2023 when I was in college. My father had a heated argument where my mother showed him proof that he was most definitely cheating and having an affair. And he then bit my mother on her head enough to rip out a chunk. What is going on with him biting her? What's fucking going on? Broke both my mother and sister's phones, left her bleeding in a locked house with no way to communicate. My sister somehow found an old keypad and called my cousin who got them out into the hospital. This guy was AWOL from everyone, but called me to meet me outside of my college, showed no remorse and acted like he was the victim. I asked him just one question. Does he feel that in all of these years he has never done any wrong to any of us? And he stared into my eyes and said, no, according to the societal rules, he did nothing wrong. Okay. To societal rules. I don't know what that is, but in my book, taking chunks out of your wife's head, biting her arm, beating her with utensils, and beating your children, leaving them on weeks on end, that's gotta break some rule, right? Like the law. So I don't fucking know. Fuck you. Alright, I just finished the rest of my fucking base. What do you think it's time for? Do you think, actually?
Fatty shot o'clock.
Fuck you. No one loves you. No one cares. It's 2 seconds. Sorry for throwing up. Oh my god. So fucking hot in here. I can't breathe. I'm also wearing really long socks, and whenever I wear long socks, I get really hot. Okay, I found a story. It's a very small one. This is from Puzzle-Headed Push 243, 187 days ago, so she's fairly recent. I'm descendant from a line of proud grapists. I know of it going back to my great-grandmother's generation where her 14-year-old sister had a baby and no one could work out who to prosecute because they didn't know which of her brothers or father had been the one to impregnate her. Every generation has a child grape. What? 2 of 3 men of my father's generation have been convicted for sex crimes, and the third has allegations pending. They're just pending. I found out when I was chilling in my grandmother's kitchen and they started talking about an uncle's parole. His brother, who I had learned later had been convicted of upskirting. What is that? Like looking at people's skirts or lifting up people's skirts? Like what is upskirting? The practice of taking photographs or videos under a person's skirt. Okay. What? Made the comment that his brother's sentence had been unfair and he'd suffered enough. 5 years in prison had been too harsh of a sentence. It's not like he murdered someone. His brother had been convicted of graping his stepchildren over multiple years, starting at ages 7 and 9. I still think 5 years is pretty lenient. Okay. I'm gonna say something. Almost every single family has had an instance of molestation. From what I've heard of, and from what I've seen, like every single. And the craziest thing about it is that more than half of the family, most of the time, like covers it up or doesn't talk about it, and then just pretends like it didn't happen. It is so fucking prevalent. It is so normalized, not in public to the public eye, but it's normalized in families. And it happens to literally so many children. Okay, I'm back. I just finished, I'm getting a fucking temperature warning on my fucking camera. Are you joke? Are you joke? The eye look is just boring and ugly, to be honest. But there's that. But I did find another story. But before that, what do you think we should do? Hello? I'm fucking talking to you. Yeah, you! What should we do? Yeah, a fucking fatty shot clock. Fuck you. Pay attention. Whoa. So there's no name for this one, but it was posted 7 years ago in the deep, dark secrets of your family that you learned about. My next door neighbors, husband, wife, and 2 young girls, and my neighbors down the road, husband, wife, and 3 young girls, were the best of friends and did everything together. They went on vacations together, they went out to dinner together, they even bought a timeshare together. My family had to move to a different state for 2 years, and this was during the housing crash of 2008, so our house never sold, so we just moved right back in. Well, when we were cleaning up our house to move back in, we found a Karma Sutra style book in a bathroom drawer and a mysterious bleach stain on some carpet. We had told all the neighbors where the extra key was in case they wanted to store stuff temporarily or take cover during a hurricane, because we live in Florida, or whatever, since there wasn't anything of ours there to steal. We just assumed some teenager couldn't find anything better to do than jack off to and tried to clean up his mess. What? Okay. After a few months of being moved back in, our next door neighbors moved out in the middle of the night. They left in such a hurry they left their cat. We come to learn that the husband of our next door neighbor and the wife of the other neighbors were having an affair and using our house as a rendezvous and used baby monitors to keep an eye on the kids. When we moved back in, they had to start taking business trips and they eventually got caught. The wife on the next door neighbors was willing to work things out but didn't want to be in the same neighborhood as that whore. That was convenient, as the husband down the street was basically hillbilly Jason Momoa and was threatening to kill them. Okay, I don't know how that's a spilled family secret of yours. That actually is a family secret of theirs. They used your house while you were gone to cheat on their families. That's like a movie. They used your house to be in a movie. You know what I mean? What was the bleach stain on the carpet? Is what I'm really curious about. Like, were there that many juices flowing around? And how many times were they blinking in your house? Like, do people get so bored in their life and they're like, the only thing that can spice up my boring life is cheating? Like, I just don't get it. Like, if you're, like, the only thing I think of is if me and my fiance were, and there has been moments in a relationship where we get, like, I wouldn't say bored with each other, but, like, we want to spice things up, and we just do a different sexual position. We go on a trip somewhere if we can afford it at the time. Why is there so many cheating? Like, cheating is, like, something I read on TikTok the other day was, like, you don't realize how, like, common cheating is until you're an adult. Like, when you're little, you hear about cheating. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he cheated. Like, it's crazy. Like, that never happens. Babe, someone's cheating right now. Someone was cheating 2 seconds ago. Someone's cheating in 3 seconds from now. Like, there's cheating so finna much. I'm gonna tell a little fun fact. So when I was growing up, this is kind of my family secret, but I'm also telling someone else's family secret. So, like, I'm doing the same thing that bitch just did. Growing up, I used to go to my cousin's house every summer. So, like, I would always visit my dad in Colorado for the summer, and I would say half the summer, maybe a little less, I would spend at my cousin's house because it was probably, like, not even an hour away, and I could hang out with my cousin that was, like, 3 years older than me, so, like, we weren't far in age that much. So we would always hang out at his house, and we got, like, I knew his neighbors, like, I was friends with his neighbors, he was friends with his neighbors, and there was this one, like, family that lived 2 houses over from him, and it was a daughter, a mom, and a stepdad. And they were always assholes, you know what I mean? Like, they were always complaining about something. Like, they were giving, like, HOA. Like, I'm gonna snitch on you for fucking playing ball in the street. Like, fucking miserable people. They lived there next to my cousin, and it's a townhouse area. So, like, they're not, like, houses, but they're townhouses. So, like, you're even closer together. They were living there the whole time I knew that my cousin lived there. Like, my cousin has lived there my whole life. So, the mom dies. Right? I think she got cancer or something and she died. So it kind of just left the stepdad and the daughter. And I'm just going to preface this. The step-parent thing wasn't a new thing. Like, it wasn't like, oh, when I turned 15 or 16, like my stepdad came to live with us. No. That stepdad was her stepdad probably since she was, like, 3 or 4. So, like, it was just her dad. But it was still, like, her stepdad legally. You know what I mean? I think you see where this is going. So, the moment she died, the stepdaughter and the stepdad started dating and having sex. Yeah. I don't know how that information got leaked. I think my aunt asked people that knew them closer or something, and plus they were like walking around holding hands and stuff and kissing in public. It just makes you think what the fuck they were doing before the mom died. Something sinister. And it's definitely on the stepdad. It's disgusting. And I want to know like what exactly happened, what the shift was, how, like when it started. Hopefully it started at least after she was an adult, but I heavily doubt that. They were giving hillbilly. Okay. I didn't even take another shot while I was finishing my eye, but the shots caught up to me. I'm rambling. I need a fatty shot o'clock. Fuck. This is super pretty. I know I've done like a yellow and blue look, but this takes it differently, you know what I mean? This looks cunt. Like, this looks so good. If you like bought a magazine, no one has bought a magazine in probably, I don't know, 13 years. But if you did see a magazine like at the store and you were waiting in like a long line, you just grabbed a magazine, looked at it, and you saw me on top of it because you weren't gonna buy it, you were just gonna like look at it because you didn't want to pay for it. And you were looking at it and you saw me on it, like, would you even be surprised? Anyways, I found the next story. Child of Rarn, 4 years ago. My dad's cousin killed a dude and his 9-year-old son in a cocaine rage in 1990. Okay. He was living in my parents' basement at the time. Investigators first questioned my dad, and then they found my cousin's bloody shoes in the house. The dude used to babysit me and my siblings. I didn't know any of this until I was almost an adult. He used to call me from prison on our shared birthday, and it always gave me the creeps. Stopped answering when I discovered the truth. My dad and grandma swear he is innocent, but I read into the case. He is definitely not. This is another thing. My dad and grandma swear he's innocent. Like there's like something predisposed in some people's minds where like they just can't fathom the fact that their like brother or kid like would do something crazy. Like, you really don't know who you bitches don't know who I am. What if I did something? Okay, maybe I wouldn't do that. Like, your mind is like where am I going with this? Your mind is like a vault. This is from Tight Cattle 6 years ago. It just wasn't really spoken about. Not really a secret, but my dad had a black nanny, or a mommy, as he called it in the South. Think like The Help type of situation. What year was this? I only found out about a year ago. I never knew that my family had hired help. The darkest part of this is that when they were kids, like younger than 12, my father and his... Okay, so like when he was younger. Okay, that makes more sense, I guess. My father and his brothers would blast some of the most racist Southern radio station while she was working to upset her. And one of her duties was to place socks on all the boys' feet before they even touched the floor in the morning. It was the 1960s. He's a different person now and regrets all of that and wished he could apologize to her, but she has long since passed away. His mother didn't supervise them half the time because she was on opiates, and his immigrant father ran off to marry a 17-year-old girl. Okay, that makes sense. They pretty much ran wild as a rich Southern white kid family. Okay. Stephanie, what do you... She didn't like that either. Hopefully he did grow from that shit and does regret a lot of that shit, but that is just so crazy. Like, hear someone be like, yeah, like my dad was that, like my dad lived through that. And a lot of our like parents and grandparents were there at the time. That is so sick. I don't know if I could ever fully live with myself for the rest of my life knowing that that was the kind of shit I was doing. But at the same time, like, you were a kid, but it also doesn't excuse it because you were taught that by people. And there's just, it's weird to live in a place where, like, people are still alive that were the perpetrators of that kind of fucking disgusting behavior. I did not really want to film today. I'm going to be honest. I was not feeling it. And then I turn on the camera. It's mainly, I don't want you guys to ever think that there's never been a point where I'm like, I don't feel like filming. I just say filming it as a blanket statement. It's mainly the editing. I would love to hire an editor, but at the same time, I feel like it's just like doing a disservice to you guys. And it also just like feels weird, like having, also I can't afford it, if I'm being honest. But I just didn't really feel like editing today. It wasn't, I didn't want to film at all for these last 5 days. And it was partly because of my, seeing my mom hurt from the funeral and coming to terms with like my closeness with my grandpa and just a lot of that stuff. But also just because like editing and putting this whole thing together does take energy and work. But at the end of the day, this isn't a real job. People are working harder. There's, like Kim, there's people dying. I love you guys, and you mean the world to me. Yeah. What? I am not the prettiest person you've ever seen. Stop. I am. Comment on how pretty I am out of a scale of 10 to 20. I love you.